Streaming. Okay, cool. Uh, I'm still not live. Hmm. Yep. I guess I'm live. Yep. Yep. Hey guys, it's day two of reading docs of JavaScript, and yeah. So yesterday we left off at first step, somewhere around the first step. So let's go. Yeah, one thing that I had a problem with yesterday was that when I ended my stream, I saw that the stream was got cut off at the end, and it like from the start to the end, so a major chunk of it, and it actually got truncated to like 16 minutes. So then I tried to figure out what was the problem, but I couldn't, and uh, I downloaded the original word that YouTube provides me, and I re-uploaded that, but it had a problem where it is only being able to view the quality is 360p. So I don't think that would be any helpful. So I guess we can uh, go forward with that, but that's a problem that I face. That's the reason I do not I'm not promoting the stream a lot, because currently I'm figuring out what's happening, how does it work, and I've just told a few of my friends, and like five friends, and I made a LinkedIn post. So that's what I did for promotions. So yeah, let's see. I'll promote after this series for JavaScript is completed. We'll see what I want to read next. But yeah, currently was willing to read JavaScript, so that's all. So we were on the first steps. Uh, okay, we did first. Did we do what is JavaScript? Yeah, we did the running order. This is where we got stuck, and let me just open that VS Code. Um, VS and where's okay. I'm working on my new GitHub page, README. So JavaScript talks. Yep. Okay, so here we are. Mm, Go live. Yep. So yeah, yesterday we were stuck at this point where we figured out that hoisting works something like uh, in hoisting works like this. So if it is a function, so in the older format, the non arrow function format, then the initialization and declaration both happens at the beginning. But if it is currently this console will print out the function. But if we write um, it in this way, cat name is equals to in the style of an arrow function, I'll name it cat name 2. Then and if we console log that, that no, we don't need this actually. Yep. So the answer would be this console will print out the function, but this console will just print undefined, because that's how hoisting works in JavaScript. So we figured that out. This was a basically this was not from this, but yeah, it came as a consequence of my previous knowledge in JavaScript and uh, then reading the docs. So uh, that's how it works. Yeah. So Catname 2 um, cannot access Catname 2 before initialization. So um, that's what it has done. And if we go with let, let's just because this was a topic where we had doubts and basically I had doubts and um I am a bit not sure what's happening. So we'll go through it. We'll find out the each and every possible uh, answer that we could get, and we'll learn how it works with var it prints undefined. With let it gives an error, and let in concept gives an error. And let's go to the debugger and check out what's happening. How is it working? So, yep. And so currently we have in a script scope we have catname 2 as undefined. Uh, and we should also have catnames. Let's see. Let's go further and catname 2 is and okay, it's a Java. That's how let and const work. So yeah, cool. Let's move forward. So interpreted versus compiled code. You might hear the terms interpreted and compiled in context of programming. In interpreted languages, the code is run from top to bottom, and the result of running the code is immediately returned. You don't have to transform the code into different forms before the browser runs it. The code is received in its programmer-friendly context for form and process directly into that. So um, yes, different. Basically what I yeah. So there's no pre-compilation of converting it into a binary executable. That's what they are saying. Um, like there is no compilation with interpreted languages. Compiled language, on the other hand, are transformed, compiled into another form, basically binary form executables before they are run by the computer. So, for example, C, C++ are compiled into machine code. If we say Java, it's compiled into bytecode. The program is executed from a binary format which is generated from the original program source. JavaScript is a lightweight interpreted programming language that we got to it yesterday. It's we can also say it's just in time compiled, which we learned yesterday, and um, like as I told yesterday is something that a lot of people like to say is it's single threaded and synchronous. So uh, the, the web browsers receive the JavaScript code in its original text form and runs the script that from that. From a technical standpoint, most modern JavaScript interpreters actually use technique called just-in-time compiling to improve web performance. The JavaScript source code gets compiled into a faster binary format while the script is being used so that it could run as quickly as possible. However, JavaScript is still considered as an interpreted language since the compilation is handled at runtime rather than ahead of time. There are advantages to both types of languages, but we don't discuss them right now. Server side versus client side code. So server side code is the code that runs on the server. Client side runs on the web browsers on the client's computer. So you might also hear the terms server side and client side code, especially in the context of web development. Client side code is code that is run on user's computer when a web page is viewed. The page's client side code is downloadable and run and displayed by the browser. In this module, we are explicitly talking about client side JavaScript. Okay. Uh, Server-side code, on the other hand, runs on server side. Then its results are downloaded and displayed on the browser. So, yeah, if you talk in the context of server-side rendering, then yeah, so like a lot of frameworks based like Next.js use that where they convert the JavaScript into HTML on the server and then give you that code, which is like it is said to help in like SEO and uh, but like Google says that they also take care of that like non-server side client side rendered code in SEO. So there is some like unclarity on that, but yeah, it is said to help in SEO. So the like rendering on the client side is said to help in SEO. Examples of popular server-side web languages include PHP, Python, Ruby, ASP.NET, and even JavaScript. JavaScript can also be used as a server-side language. For example, in popular Node.js environment, you can find out more about server-side JavaScript in a dynamic website. Dynamic versus static code. Word dynamic is used to describe both client-side JavaScript and server-side languages. It refers to ability to update the display of a web page and show different things and in different circumstances. So yeah, so like if you print click a button and you get a pop-up, so that's dynamic. Generating new content as required. Server-side code dynamically generates new content on the server, pulling data from the database, whereas client-side JavaScript dynamically generates new content inside the browser or on the client, creating a new HTML table, filling it with requested data and from the server, then displaying the table in the web page shown to the user. The meaning is slightly different in two contexts but related, and both approaches, server side and client side, usually work together. A web page with no dynamically updating content is referred to as static. It is just show it just shows same content all the time. Let's say a page of a blog is a good example of static web page. So because nothing changes, it's just text. Uh, this part is an example of static paragraph. So because nothing changes. So but yeah, but this is somewhat dynamic because you can press the link and also it changes on hover. So um, I wouldn't actually say this is dynamic, but yeah, um, but kind of uh, having a model is dynamic. Having loaders is dynamic. Um, and yeah, like um, changing pages in React, like routing and all is dynamic. So uh, JavaScript is applied. How do you add JavaScript to your page? So we know that adding the script tag, uh, ja like this, we can add JavaScript. We can also add it in line without like if we remove this src and we can write JavaScript code here also between the tags. So that's not a problem. External JavaScript, yes. Um, Inline JavaScript handlers. Note that sometimes you come across bits of actual JavaScript code living inside HTML. It might look like something like this. Huh? Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yep, yep. Uh, so basically, in the script tag, they are writing uh, then this function, and then they are calling this function on click. So that's easy. Um, this demo has exactly the same functionality as in the previous two sections, except the button element includes an inline on click handler to make the function run when the button is pressed. Uh, Please don't do this, however. It is a bad practice to populate your HTML with JavaScript. Yeah, and it is inefficient. Oh, it is inefficient. You would have to include the on-click uh, create paragraph attribute on every button you want the JavaScript to apply to. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it is inefficient when, like, if there's a single use case, then it may not be very inefficient. But yeah, if you have to select multiple paragraphs, then obviously it is. Um, I get what they are saying, but yeah, mm, it depends on the use case. But I would not also prefer to write it in this way because I prefer that I make my HTML, CSS, JavaScript, everything on very separate from each other, and then they can manipulate each other using add event listener instead of including JavaScript in your HTML. Use pure JavaScript constructor, the query selector all. So query selector all gives you an array of nodes. A function allow having the select, like it will give an array of buttons. Function allows you to select all the buttons on the page. You can then loop through the buttons, assigning a handler to each using add event listener. This code for this is shown below. Okay. Um, this might be a bit longer than on-click attribute, but it will work for all buttons no matter how many are on the page. Yep. Script loading strategies. Okay, yeah. As I said yesterday, the one thing you can do to defer JavaScript at the end was adding this event listener. Um, yeah, and you can also add the defer keyword in the HTML script. So that's uh, how it can work, or you can add it simply at the end of your body tag. So it will load after the body is loaded. So that's something that you can use. Once the script tag has been. Hmm. Hmm, okay, they are talking about that. So it would load after. So an old-fashioned solution to this problem used to be to put your script element right at the bottom of the body tag, so it would load after the HTML has been passed. The problem, okay, it has a problem. Okay, the problem with this solution is that loading slash passing of script is completely blocked till the HTML ROM has been loaded. On larger sites, With lots of JavaScript, this can cause a major performance issue. Okay, okay. So probably using differ is the best option that I can see right now because as they say that it can cause a performance issue on the sites that have a very large amount of HTML to render. So uh, currently, yeah, but wouldn't different also create the same problem because it will also get loaded after the HTML DOM has been loaded on larger sites. Uh, let's just check. Should be let's just stream my stream. I don't think today anybody would come because I did not tell my friends also that much. Uh, oh, I have one viewer. Yup, that's good. That one viewer is always there. I'm happy. Um, mm, at the end of body is already delaying the execution of the script. So the above code should be the same as the following statement. I understand it should be the same. This should be the same. But should body should adding the differ and adding it in at the end of the body make a difference? This will accept document right which should be used. Okay, differ has some benefits with differ passing finishes just like when you put the script at the end of the body tag. Yeah, but overall script execution finishes well before because script has been downloaded. Okay, so adding it in differ actually has benefits where the download happens in parallel and then the HTML is parsed. So this looks kind of cool. Yeah. Uh, actually, oh, so uh, so basically, if you add it at the end of the body, it will start downloading at the end of the body. But if you use the defer keyword, then it will download it well before, but it will start the execution at the end of when the DOM is loaded. So use defer, async, and defer. There are actually two modern features we can use to bypass the problem of blocking script async and defer, which we saw above. Yeah, defer we saw. Let's look at the difference between these two. Yep, so I have my AC turned off. Let me just turn it on quickly. Script you loaded using async attribute will download the script without blocking the page while the script is being fetched. However, once the download is completed, the script will execute, which blocks the page from rendering. Okay. You get no guarantee when that the script will run in any specific order. It is best to use async when script in the page run independently from each other and depends on no other scripts on the page. Scripts load. Okay, so what will happen when we use async? The browser will most probably the browser will like start a new thread and in the browser thread it will like not the JavaScript thread. It will create a browser thread, and in that browser will download this scripts. I think it is like how microservices, micro tasks should work. I think that probably that concept might be used there. Um, and then it comes back and it gets executed while blocking the rendering. So when the script is on the page, run independently from each other and depend on no other scripts on the page. Scripts loaded with different attribute will load in any order they appear in the order they appear on the page. They won't run until the content has been loaded, which is useful if your scripts depend on the DOM being a place. Here's a visual representation of different scripts loading method and what they mean. Normal scripts, they load the parser, loads, fetches, executes, and parser. Scripts differ. So fetch is done. Okay, so this is the HTML parser, green line, and hmm, that's kind of cool. So the download is done in a separate thread, I guess, in a browser thread, basically, and then it is executed after everything has been passed. And for async, uh, It blocks the passing after the download. So, काफी cool. This image is from HTML spec, copied and cropped. Okay, yeah. You can rely on their jQuery. Leave jQuery aside, please. Comments, we know how comments work, and comments are just. I just prefer to write single line. I use command and slash in VS Code and whatever it applies. So for whatever language, and I think it up for multiple lines also it applies single line comments, and I think that's good only. So uh, coming out of comments and summary. Okay, yeah, we are done with what is JavaScript. Oh my god, this was big. Our first splash into JavaScript. Hmm. Thinking like a programmer. One of the hardest thing to learn in program is not syntax. You need to learn how to apply it to real world problems. You need to start thinking like a program. This generally involves looking at description of what your program needs to do, working out your code features are involved to achieve those things, and how to make them work together. This requires a mixture of hard work, experience, and programming syntax and practice, plus a bit creativity. The DSS, do DSA, learn DSA, basically. The more you code, the better you'll get it. No, just learn DSA. Just learn DSA and this will be fine. Uh, Example, guess the number game. Yeah, make a basically the code for this works something like this where uh, you take create a random number which is not actually randomized because creating actual random numbers is very difficult, but yeah, it creates a random number and then you can submit your guesses. Have you got playing at five? Let's guess one or two. Yeah, let's move on. Let's initial setup. So yeah, they are creating a random number um, using mat or random into 100 to, so random number gives you a value from 0 to like I guess does it give 0 to 99999 or like 0 to 1? Is 1 included or not? It shouldn't be because if 1 was included, like this is my best guess, if 1 was included, they like they would not have to add 1 to this, so it should not be. Let's see. Huh, 1 is not included, so yep, this is how you create a random number in JavaScript, and then you can easily check for the guesses on click. Mm, Operators we know from other programming languages, and conditionals conditionals we know. Events events we have the click listener that we did. Um, this is basically they are going through the game. Loops. Yep. So we have the for of loop. For arrays, it returns the values of every um, like every element. So it will return apple, bananas, cherries. So that's what it does. Objects. Let we didn't miss anything, you know. Nope. Before we get to this discussion, add the following line just below the let just button. Yeah. So basically, elements in JavaScript have a keyword, a function called focus with like if I use the tab, uh, you'll see that how it's changing the focus. Currently, it's here. It now it's here. So that's how focus works. So this will add that focus to your text feed. Yep, we're done with this. We have seen debugging. Basically, so one is consoling loudly logging the errors. We're talking about the errors, so there can be syntax error, logical errors, and semantic errors. So these are basically computer science concepts. So I'm not going into computer science concepts. I'm going into specifically JavaScript based concepts. So because that's the goal to learn JavaScript properly, not computer science. You're probably here because you know what computer science is. We aren't missing anything. Uh, let's go. Store information you need. Variables. We know variables from other language, basic maths. I guess we'll get through it in yeah, variables. Declaring a variable. So it's like a box that has a value in it. Um, initializing a variable, uh, updating a variable. Basically, you can change it like this. For initializing, you can initialize it like this, and for declaring a variable, you can declare it like using let var and const. Dynamic typing. JavaScript is dynamically typed because you can assign it to a string. Now, then later on you can change it to a like uh, this is now currently a string which is a of type string, and now this is currently a number. So constant in JavaScript constants. Uh, you can't change constants. You have to initialize constants when you declare them. So that's one thing. It's your skills. Yup, that was fast. Basic maths and flows. there's just one number type uh, in JavaScript. So lots of for precision you have to do it like this. Let's just go and check what this code is, because how does it work? Let's console log these. Yep, it sets the precision. It also does rounding off, so that's what it does. Um, let's say you want it to be like 17 point something in that way, so we can do it in this way, I guess, into 10 and precision to 3. So just 17. What the 1 minute? First let's do this. So we get the answer and do 10. What? So should I do it like this? Yep. Okay, makes sense. I would prefer that it didn't give 99999. I know, like I remember that that was a problem. I don't remember why was that a problem. I think we'll get to see why it is the case, but yeah. Okay. Hmm. This. Cool. Let's see if we get to see this in this documentation somewhere. Converting to numbered data drives. What's the time? 10:30. So this will like yeah, as they say, 743 instead of 77. Operator precedence we know from other languages. Computer science concept, increment and decrement assignment. Let's make it red. Yep. Okay, they are changing again. Comparison operators. Let's just test. Where is okay? I don't want to do this right now. I'm good at maths. Handling text strings in JavaScript. Useful string methods. Arrays. I think we'll get off with the first steps today. Then we'll start with the building blocks. Handling texts. The power of strings. Creating a string. Easy. Just make it a double or single quotes. So you should like quotes should not be missed. Yep. One thing I want to say, if strings are referenced or not. Dash. And what was the string? Because I know objects are referenced. A string should not be referenced, but let's see. Dash string is equals to string. Dash string is equals to GGG. Uh, hmm? Oh, check constant. Uh, I did not had to change the first const also, but yeah. So it's GGG. Now what will string be? Our best case is it should not change, but let's see. Yeah, it does not change. This is how I read. I see I have doubts and I just check on them. Single quotes versus double quotes. Yeah. Don't use different quotes. That goes without saying, I guess. Escaping characters. Yep. Basically, most languages, it's the same. Concatenating strings. Hello. Yep. So in JavaScript, you can add variables like this. So let's say I want to add this a batch string, then I will make backticks string and I'll add dollar with dollar dollar and batch string. Let's add string only. It will make good sense here. And we'll get that variable value of that variable will be added, so the revolution will not be televised. Concatenation. So you can add commas to concatenate strings. No. Like you can, that's basic concatenation, but yeah, you can add plus marks to uh, add strings together. So that's what you can do. Of strings, including expressions in the strings. Multi-line strings. Yeah, that goes without saying. Useful string methods. I think that should be something. The square brackets to get the character at that point. The last character includes is basically the checks gives true or false where it's a string prototype where it uh, gives true or false uh, according to if the substring is present or not. So it's easy to understand. And so it's that's also easy to understand with the name. Finding a position of substring in a string. Index of gives the index of the word, and if it's not present then -1. Extracting sub from a string. You can extract a substring from a string using the slice method. Yep, just use the slice and then basically it starts from that position and ends before that position. So before the second argument. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So before L. If you only provide one argument, then it will start from that position and it go till the end. Changing. Basically, the length will become its default second argument. For changing cases to lowercase and to uppercase, uh, returns. Does it return a it converts all the characters into? Does it convert the same array or does it return a new array? Let's check. String. And again, let's console log. Yep, this Sunday. Yep, it returns a new string. So as we can see that two lowercase, this is all in two lowercase, but the second string the has second console log has no effect on the string. So it returns a new string with a lower everything is in lowercase or uppercase. So replaces used to update parts of string. So Mozilla will become vanilla. It returns a new string basically. You can easily use the filter function also here. Basically, these are some tests that they want us to give, but currently I'm not here for this. I guess we'll get to start this. Um, I'm not very sure. Array, we know what an array is from computer science concepts. Console log, we can easily console that log them out. Um, We can change the values. Item. To find an item, we can like to see get their position. We can use index of. We can also use includes, so which will return a true or false. But yeah, hmm, to add at the end push. I guess to add multiple at the end push and multiple arguments. Oh, push returns the length of the new array. That's cool. Unshift unshift removes removes, yeah, uh, pop removes from the end. Pops removes from the end and returns the item that has been removed. So yeah, shift removes from the start. Unshift removes from the end also, I guess. Mm, let's just check without passing an argument. If nothing. Okay, unshift adds at the start. Okay, unshift adds at the start. Shift removes from the start. Yup. Hmm. Cities. Hmm. Unshift removes from the start. Shift adds on the start. Just to remember. Cities. Yeah, so unshift is unshifting that, and shift is shifting from the start. Makes sense. Cities. Index of index. First argument says remove item and second argument says how many items should be removed. So you can remove more than one item. Yep. Accessing every item of for of loop map. Uh, so map is gives out a new array according to the function. So you should have a return keyword in that and gives a new array. Hmm. Filter also should have a return keyword and it should have a boolean return. So it checks if this particular value should be included into the new array or not. Converting between strings and array. Let's play with and see how it works. Split is used to split uh, in this like according to the comma, and it returns an array. So your cities will be a new array. The first zero city will be Manchester, London, and the last city will be Kalis, Kalis, whatever. Um, the opposite of split is join. Okay, so for join, you can use different separators, but for toString, it will only use um, comma. But I don't see Java. The problem that I see with JavaScript is sometimes it feels like it's too bloated. Um, like you see here, why do we need join and why do we need two strings or two string also? We could have one join or like we could have one two string with the features of join because that the naming of two string makes much more sense than join. But having that, uh, like having the naming of toString makes much more sense than join, but having that functionality of join makes much more sense. So uh, these are some things where in JavaScript I think that it's just too bloated. Uh, but yeah, it is what it is. Active learning. So let's leave these exercises and we are done with the first steps. Let's go to the building blocks. Come on. How many? Yeah. What's the time? How much did I stream? Yeah, I don't want to stream more than 1.5 hours. So yep, no, we can go another half hour. But yeah, that's my limit for now. I'll ramp it up if we continue with this. Yeah, I'll continue with streaming, but yeah, because this is my way to record it for myself also, and uh, like watch it later. But yeah, let's see. This module we continue on the cover. It draws key fundamental features learning of commonly encouraged types of code blocks such as conditional statement loops and function events. And even you've seen this successfully already in this course, but only in passing here we'll discuss that more explicitly. Deeper, we are going deeper. I guess we'll do till this. Make I don't think we'll actually do till this. Uh, making decisions if else statement, basic computer science concept, else if basic computer science concept, comparison, nesting of else if, uh, switch statement almost in all the languages, ternary operator, yeah, almost in all the languages. Basically, you add a boolean uh, statement, a statement which returns a boolean value, and if it's true, what will happen? If it's false, what will happen? Ternary, that's ternary operator. Yep, simple kind of active learning we are leaving. Looping through code. We know the for loop for let I is equals to 0, I smaller than 100, I plus plus. Mm, I have some messages to check. Yep. With and without a loop. Hmm. You don't have to understand all the code for now. Let's look at the part of the code that is actually draws up. Okay. looping through a collection. So yeah, for off we saw in the arrays, map filter we saw in the arrays, the standard for loop we know from many other languages how this works, and looping through collections for with a for loop. Yep, we saw for off loop. We saw existing loop, exiting loop with break. Yeah, we can conditionally break a loop if we want, or not even conditionally. We can make a for loop that runs for let's say infinity, and then we break it in the first step only. So that's all. Skipping iterations. Continue is a concept that is present in most of language. So you can add continue to skip that particular iteration and come back, to the loop for the next iteration. While and do while just has a do while loop. I don't use do while a lot, so yeah, it's not a surprise to me that I don't know this. Uh, is do while that useful? Because I don't see it being do while loop is useful when you want a signal when the loop must be executed. Yeah, but okay. People have this question now where they think why do we have the do while loop? Adding real time examples. I know what do while does. What I want to know is it useful? It is there, it might be useful. I don't see a lot of use in my particular case, but yeah, while, do while, then exercises, functions, built-in browser functions. So we have used functions built in the browser a lot all every time we manipulate that. They are methods, but yeah, because when you something is associated with a object or and in JavaScript almost everything is an object, so then it's called a method. If something is independent, then it is called a function. So uh, this is an example of method and this is an example of function. But they are basically the same thing, so it's just terminology. You can replaceably use those. No one will like kill you for that. Killing is something that took it very serious. Okay, functions versus method. Functions are part of uh, functions that are part of objects are called methods. So exactly what I said. The function is draw and mm, mat dot random is the function origin. Dot random is a method in the math object. Invoking functions. Function parameters is optional parameter, default parameters in most of the language. Anonymous functions and the arrow function. So we can declare functions like this. We can declare functions. Basically, they are calling a function. Like this does not have a name. So This is called an anonymous function because it has no name. You'll often see anonymous function when the function accepts to receive another function as a parameter. Yeah, exactly. Anonymous function example. Arrow functions. We have gone through this, and arrow function life sample. Function scope and conflicts. By the way, am I audible properly? Let's just check once. I did not check at the start. I hope that was is not the case where I am not audible and yeah, I am audible. And how much time I have done? It's actually very hard to stream. It looks very easy because you don't have to plan a lot. Like let's say what I was making in when I was a kid. I had to plan. I had to write the script and all that. But currently, like I can go with the flow. But it's difficult because it's like very long. I have to speak for a long time, and it kind of hurts my cheeks. So yeah, let's talk a bit about scope, a very important concept when dealing with function. Scope, yeah, scope is very important. In function, create a function that the variables and other things defined inside the function are inside the own separate scope, meaning that they are locked away in their own separate compartments, unreachable from the code inside. So a variable inside a function is basically scope to that function. So you can't access them outside the function. So let's say I create a function called cons affluence fun is equals to, let's create an arrow function and let's go with var because var has also functional scope. That's why also it wouldn't be equals to. We know that let has a block scope, so that will not be accessible. But var also has a functional scope, so it can't be accessed outside that function. So uh, console dot log a, and this would give an error. Exactly. A is not defined because it's inside that function. Let's leave the active learning part. But let's complete this, and that would be the end. Build your own function. We know how to declare functions. Calling a function with parentheses or referencing them, which will be called as a callback inside event listeners. Invoking the function with parameters. Hmm, more complex parameter. Yeah, any type of parameter. On to the next arrow, we are going to Yeah, so that does not make any difference. Function return value, you can return almost anything. You can return a function from a function. So JavaScript is very lenient in that way, uh, this concept like returning is a basic C++ concept within most all the languages, IMO, most of the languages, let's say, for safety purpose. Uh, and so this does not make any difference to a knowledge. Introduction to events. Introduction to events. So we know what events are basically. We have added event listeners in this documentation only. A series of fortunate events. There's the signal. Now can we take off? Simple example. It's not just web pages. Events are not unique to JavaScript. Most programming languages have some kind of event model. Yep. Uh, and the way the model works often differs from JavaScript way. In fact, the event model in JavaScript for web pages differs from the event model for JavaScript as it is used on other environments. For example, in Node.js, it is a very popular JavaScript runtime that enables developers to use JavaScript to build networks and server-side application. The Node event model relies on listeners to listen for events and emitters to emit events periodically. It doesn't sound that different, but the code is making use of function like on. Yeah, I get it once and rest us and even listeners that unless or after it has done once. HTTP connector. Let's just go through a bit, just not a lot, but yeah, just look what is there. Okay, so this is the whole, and hmm, so yeah, we actually use Express a lot. So um, on top of Node.js, so you don't actually have to work with this on and off everything. But yeah, you get so you can also use JavaScript to build cross-browser add-ons, browser functionality enhancement using technology called web extension. Event model is web extension basically. I think they are these extensions. Okay, so they also have their own event models. So yeah, add event listener. We have done click again. We are using click a lot. So other events focus, blur, double click, mouse over, mouse out. Mouse out is when like I'm here and as soon as I get out of this anchor tag, this event will be uh, registered. Removing event listener, remove event listener. So it's a simple code. Abort signal, we can pass in the abort signal also, and that will stop the event listener. Mm. Event handlers can also be removed by passing abort signal to add event listener, and then later calling abort on the controller owning the abort signal. So where have they called the abort? I have used this in like API requests, so I know from the context of Axios, I've used this with Axios. For example, even this again, we can also remove and then have they used? Okay, so okay, okay, so they are calling this after this, after resting the event. So I guess you can conditionally add this to remove event listeners. But you can also conditionally add event listeners. So, but yeah, like if you want to remove an event on a click of a button, so that could be done using the bot, I guess. Adding multiple listeners for a single event. Hmm. Other event listener mechanism, event properties. On click, on, on click, click, land event, and yeah, they have told not to use this. Event object. So where am I? How did I get here? I was somewhere. Hmm. Inside event handler function, you will see a parameter specified. What I have telling about the event object. So we have a button. Yep. Command dot get element by time name button dot add event listener. We have one button now. Yep. Let's give it a class now. Let's give it an ID only. A is equals to A. This is just a better way. What is this? Yeah, I was confused about the casing. Add event listener, click, and then a callback function. So it takes an event, and let's just console log e. So close 5500. I'll inspect it and F get elements. element by id button cannot read property of null heading. Acha, oh, I guess I set the name A here S. Let's change it away. Yep. Now I will get the event. So this is the event. It has many values which you can see, and we can use that to manipulate the DOM and get the data about the DOM. Preventing default behavior. So in forms, you can add e.prevent default to prevent the like uh, basically reloading the page on submit. So uh, and like preventing the default behavior of this submit button in the forms. So this submit button. Event bubbling. So in JavaScript, if let's say I click on this button, then the event also goes, the click also goes to its parent. So now I will get to console log of two events when we click ID. Yep, see. So what happened when we clicked this button? It triggered the event on this button itself, and then it also passed on that click to its parent. So we got basically it bubbled. That's what we call bubbling in JavaScript. I'm shooting my time up, so soon I'll be ending this. Basically, we end the building blocks. Bubbling. So they are giving various. So you can stop that propagation using the stop propagation method on the event. So easy. You can use that event. So we are done with building blocks. We'll do JavaScript object tomorrow. Save. Let's send this stream. I'm super tired. I hope it stays on and it's not deleted.